Today is my third and final part of my video series, Are Seniors Being Underserved and Overprescribed Medications? Stay tuned. Hi, and welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for being here today for part 3 of my little series on the healthcare system that we have to deal with in today's world. I did my first video, part 1, last Friday. Then on Tuesday, I decided to add another part. So I did a part 2 then, and that was involving more chronic diseases and cancer and things like that. It was about my husband's story, Dave, because he does have prostate cancer. So I kind of did a little mini interview on him to get his feelings of what it's like to deal with the medical community when you're dealing with something so serious. And today is my last part of how I feel about the medical community, the big business, the big medical complex, the big money machine, all that and many more words to describe how I feel about it. Doctors are now employees of these big healthcare corporations, so we no longer are being served like we should be. We are not being treated as individuals and as patients who a doctor takes vested interest in your health and your well-being. It just doesn't happen anymore, unfortunately. Now, I did receive a few comments from some people that said they've had the same doctor for 20-some years and 30-some years, and they love that doctor. And I think that's fantastic for them. And maybe their doctor kept their autonomy and their dignity and just stayed in their own private practice, and they're not tied in with the big healthcare system. But those kind of doctors are far and few between and very difficult to find. I thank you all so very much for your comments in that part 1 video from last Friday. Oh my goodness, you shared so much. You shared your thoughts and beliefs, and I was really shocked to see how many people feel the same way that I do. How many people don't trust doctors, don't take the medications, and know exactly what the system is like. So I really appreciate your input and contribution on that topic. I used to work in a doctor's office. Actually, it was a radiology center. And I was there for 10 years and managed the practice. And I saw a lot even back then. And that was back in the 80s and early 90s, where doctors were in bed with the pharmaceutical companies. That's the only way I can put it. In other words, these pharmaceutical companies came in on a regular basis, different ones all week long. They would bring lunch for the entire office. They bought doctors' offices complete computer systems, brand new computers. I mean, that's an expense when you're in a doctor's office and there's several computers. They would buy them tickets to a football game or what do they call that? The Super Bowl game and things like that. They were buying them off to push their drugs. And that was going on back then. So you can imagine what it's like now. Also, in today's world, These doctors have quotas to meet. They have to see X amount of patients a day. And that's why you get no time with them. Your time is so limited. You might get 10 minutes, 15 if you're really, really lucky. Because they have no choice but to get you in and shut you up. They can write you prescriptions and out the door you go. They also meet quotas for the hospitals by sending so many patients each month to get specific tests. If the hospitals aren't doing enough, I don't know, say a CAT scan or a barium enema or upper GI series or something like that, then they've got to send somebody. They've got to send people to get those things done, to keep the money flowing. And so they do. So you may be referred to go get tests that you don't even need. It's just disgusting. It really is. I could tell you a lot of stories from working in that field for the number of years that I did. And I can't imagine what goes on now. They do each other favors, different doctors. So if their golf buddy is an orthopedic guy and you go to your doctor and, I don't know, this is bothering you or that, something to do with a bone, an orthopedic issue, you really probably don't need to see a specialist, but hey, you're going to get referred to that specialist. From what I understand, when you go to the doctor now, oh my gosh, they just write a bunch of prescriptions for you to take all these pills and then they refer you out. You go see this specialist or that specialist, and you're just pushed through the system making money for everybody. Well, I don't like to say it, but honestly, it is true. And maybe many of you already know that. So I just have a few topics I want to cover. One is things that I absolutely will not do. Two are things that I will do and do. And three would be how I try to manage and keep myself healthy on my own. So let's start with the things that I will do and that I do. Every year I get an eye exam by my optometrist. Get my eyes checked. If I need new glasses, a new prescription, I get them. He has never referred me to an ophthalmologist because of some problem that he saw. Now, if he did, if I had a retinal detachment or he saw glaucoma or, different things that happened with the eyes, cataracts, then yes, I would go and take care of that. That's something to me that would be necessary. Number two, I would go to a chiropractor. I have been to chiropractors in the past. Fortunately, I haven't had to go, for the last probably 7 years. But if I mess my back up and I know it, I will go. I do believe in chiropractors because they take a more natural approach. They're not about pills and medication and muscle relaxers and pain pills and all that. And so I do and would go to a chiropractor. Number three is the dermatologist. I get my skin checks every year, twice a year. I know they recommend to do it once a year, but at my age and living in the South with the intense sun that we have, I do go twice a year and get my skin checks. If I broke out in a rash or something like that, I would go to the dermatologist and get that looked at, and they would most likely prescribe some kind of cream that I put on, and I would do that. That's not invasive to me at all. Another thing that I do is get blood work. I get blood work once a year. The nurse practitioner orders it for me. And now that I'm working with South Carolina house calls, they come to my house. It's a nurse practitioner. That's who checks me for whatever. And then she orders blood work. And then the person from the lab comes to my home and draws my blood. So I like that. I don't like having to go out somewhere. It's so very convenient for me. And I think your blood work can kind of give you a true picture of where you're at. And that way you can start making corrections. If your blood work shows that you're low in iron or anemic, then you can eat the foods that you have to eat to build up the iron in your body. If it shows that you're low in vitamin B or D, you can take a supplement for that. So it's a good guideline to kind of keep you on track and ahead of any big problems. The next one would be the dentist. I do go to the dentist. I know they say get a cleaning once a year or once every 6 months. I actually go every 3 months to get a cleaning because I want to avoid cavities and any kind of tooth work that I can. I don't like the dentist. I don't want to have to get anything major done. So I would rather go every 3 months, even though I have to pay for it, to keep my teeth as cavity-free and problem-free as I possibly can. And the last thing, and this is sort of a new thing for me, I've been having trouble with my knees. And I kind of know what it is, you know, as we get older, and I'll be 73 in, I don't know, 10 days or something, less than that, you know, we lose cartilage in our knees, and sometimes it can get bone on bone and cause you problems. I will not be getting any knee replacement. I'm not doing anything like that. I avoid surgery at all costs. But I will get the knee injection. I've done a lot of research on it, and they say that they inject like a gel in between the bones, you know, where you're almost bone on bone, you don't have enough space, and that kind of fills that up and takes away the pain in your knees if you're having any trouble. So that is something I will consider. It's not bad enough yet for me to do anything about it. I have no trouble walking, running, dancing. It's only when I like stoop down or I'm down on the floor and I have to stand back up. That's when I feel it. So I'll give it a little more time and then I'll consider that. Okay, on to things that I will not do. And I discussed this just a little in the first video. I talked about colonoscopies. And I said I will not do one, and I won't. There are other screenings that I don't do either. I feel they're unnecessary. One of them is, it's a bone scan. I think it's called a DEXA scan, where this machine looks at your bones and then they tell everybody over 60, 65, well, you have osteopenia. And then that can lead to osteoporosis, where your bones are getting weaker and not as strong as they used to be and all that. And they can put you on a medication that has some really nasty side effects if you read up on that medication. And the problem with that is that once you start taking it, you can't get off of it because if you do, your bones are going to go right back to what they were before you started the medication. Now, it doesn't have to be medication. I think now you can get an injection, like maybe it's once every 6 months. But again, you have to continue that for the rest of your life. Well, at my age, what do I expect my bones to be like? I mean, they've taken a beating. They've done a lot of walking. They've done a lot of everything in almost 73 years. Of course my bones are older. Of course they're weaker. I don't want to break one, but there's no guarantee that just because you're on a medication that you're not going to break a bone. I mean, everything gets older and wears out as time goes on. That's part of life as far as I'm concerned. So I would never do that. I'm not interested. That's just out of the question for me. Now, this will probably be very controversial, but it is mammograms. And I feel horrible even talking about it because I know a couple women here on YouTube that have breast cancer and have gone through surgeries. And oh my gosh, my heart just aches for them. And I feel so bad for them to have to be dealing with this. In fact, my very best friend, this was back many years ago, her name was Sonia, and we were both 38 years old. She got breast cancer, and 3 years later, she died of breast cancer at 38 years old. Oh my gosh, I can't even imagine. So breast cancer is real, just like every other cancer. But I just don't know about these screenings. Now, if I thought I had a problem, I might get an ultrasound, but not a mammogram. And I managed a radiology center. We were a mammography center. We did mammograms all day long. But I don't know, there's some controversy about that. And from what I've heard, and again, I'm no doctor, I don't have any solid statistics, but from what I have heard in the little bit of research I've done, that mammograms really only pick up about 30% of breast cancers. That's not very many. I'd rather take a test that picks up 80 or 90%, like I don't know what would, an MRI, a PET scan, an ultrasound. I mean, I don't know because I don't do these things. But mammograms are x-ray that has radiation. My mother, and again, a lot of my beliefs come from my mother and how I was raised. She never had a mammogram in her life, and she died at the age of almost 97. She believed that mammograms caused breast cancer. Now, I know that's kind of out there, but she felt like being squished in a machine like that could bring cancer on or ignite it or something like that. And, how do I know? There could be some truth to that. I also believe, I think it's true that we all have cancer cells in our body. They're just, not active, but maybe they can become active when your immune system's down or you're going through something. And just say you went that day and got that mammogram and it showed cancer. My goodness, you're off to the races. Now you're going to get a biopsy and this and that and on and on and on. Well, who knows, maybe a month or two later, those cells, your immune system would have fought them off. I know, it probably doesn't make any sense what I'm saying. Just the bottom line is, no mammograms for this girl. And many times people are overdiagnosed and overtreated. You know, people with dense breasts, then they usually end up getting that call after the mammogram saying, oh, something doesn't look good. We need you to go get a biopsy or do some other test. It scares people to death. I remember women just petrified because something was seen that looked suspicious. So they were referred out to get additional tests. Again, cha-ching, cha-ching. And oh my gosh, they fretted over it. And most of the time, it turns out to be nothing, that it's okay. Whatever was seen is not cancerous and it's okay. So, again, to each his own. We all have to do what we feel we have to do. It could run in your family and you're at a higher risk. That would be a whole different picture. But I never bought into it. And especially now at my age, why bother? I mean, 73, the average lifespan for women now is, what is it? Is it 80, 79, or 83? I forget what I read. But anyhow, no, not going there. I came across this article from the NIH, National Cancer Institute, and I thought it may be of interest to some of you, especially women 70 and older. I will have this article linked below so that you can read it in its entirety. And the last part of this video is telling you all, because many of you asked, what do I do to maintain my health at home? What steps do I take? What do I do? Honestly, I wish I could tell you something that sounded very healthy, very wise, the typical that you're going to hear from most people or most professionals, and that is, oh, I eat right, I don't eat a lot of fat, I eat low carb, I eat all the green things, I drink green smoothies and all that. But I can't tell you that. None of that is true for me. And I don't know why I'm healthy. It must just be my genes. But I've done videos on what I eat, and it's not good. I don't eat healthy. I don't eat right. And I do eat candy, especially Tootsie Rolls. I love my sweets. So I know I don't take care of myself in that way. The things that I do that I feel are right and right for me is I pray about my health and I give gratitude and thanks every single day for my health. Every day that I wake up, I'm breathing, I walk to the kitchen, I feel fine, then I thank God. I thank God for another day of health. I don't take my health for granted. When I'm out walking, I thank Him that my legs still work and that I can breathe in the fresh air and that I feel good. So I make sure not to take my health for granted and to always be thankful for it and give the praise to God. The second thing is my walking. For those who have been here for a long time, you know I walk every single day, unless it's an extreme downpour. But if it's just a drizzle or a light rain, I'll carry my umbrella. I walk every day. It's a priority, it's a habit, it's a lifestyle. I walk 5 miles every morning, early in the morning, and then throughout the day, I continue to walk. I walk around my yard, I walk around my house, I walk in and out of each room. I don't sit. I keep moving. When I'm in the laundry room and I'm folding clothes that I have to bring back to the opposite end of the house to put in the closet. I don't put them in a basket and make one trip. I'll carry 2 or 3 items, bring them back, put them away, go back, get 2 or 3 more. I might make 10 trips to put away one small basket of laundry, but I'm going to keep moving. And the next thing would be dancing. Dancing is so good for the soul, for your mental attitude. It's uplifting, and it's a way to keep moving. Put a song on every day. Pick a few songs that you love and just dance to the music. You can stand at your sink doing dishes and be dancing with your feet. You can walk through your house and then put a song on and dance to the next room. Don't just walk to the next room. Dance as much as you can. I think it's so good for you physically, mentally, and spiritually. Next would be I spend a lot of times outdoors. I love to be outside. I love to be in nature. To me, being in nature is healing in itself. It really is. I love the sunshine. I love the fresh air. Too many people stay cooped up in their homes. Years ago, everybody had their doors open, their windows open, and now everybody has air conditioning, so they stay in the house because it's comfortable and they don't get out. And it's very important to get out, at least in my opinion. So that's something that I do for myself also, is spend as much time outside as I can. I have a covered patio, so even if it's raining, I'm not going to get wet. And if I'm going to answer comments on a video or research or watch a YouTube video or anything, I'm going to do it outside rather than inside. I take my hot rollers outside and plug them in. So if I put the hot rollers in my hair, I'm outside doing it. If I've washed my hair and I need to blow dry it, I don't blow dry it in the bathroom. I go in the bathroom, I get the blow dryer, I take it outside, and I blow dry my hair. So I just love to do as much as I can outside. And I guess the last few things is I do not take pills. I don't take medications. If I have to take something over the counter, I will. But just like the common cold, many people run to the doctor for the common cold. And it's a cold. We get colds. That's just life. And we can get through them. Now, granted, sometimes it can turn into an infection or bronchitis or sinus infection or something. But if I even think that I'm starting to get that feeling like I might be getting a cold, then I start taking Zicam. I believe that's zinc. And if you catch it soon enough, you're going to ward that cold off. It's really going to reduce it from taking a hold of you. I know I've been on YouTube 4 years, and I don't think I've ever been on here sick. I don't think I've ever been on here with a cold. If I have, it might have been one time. I just don't get colds. I'm very fortunate. The last thing I do is I push my limits. I bend, I stretch, I do things that are difficult for me. I will push the limit on things to make me go forward and to not take the easy road and say, oh, I think I'll just sit down. No, I'd rather stand up. I might want to sit down, but I'm not going to. I'm going to stand up. I'll go out. I'll sweep the patio. I'll do something. But I'm going to push myself because I'm not going to give in to the aches and the pains and everything else that comes our way as we age. So much has to do with what we think, what our mindset is. If you get an ache or a pain somewhere and you think, oh my gosh, I wonder if, whatever, I have a heart problem or I have a pain here, I wonder if it's my appendix, and then the story gets bigger and bigger and you worry and worry. It almost feels like you're going to bring it on, like you're going to, just by thinking it so much, it's going to happen. So I do the opposite. When I get aches or pains, and who knows, they could be something serious, but I don't look at them that way. I just figure, oh well, I'm another day older today. Here's a new pain. Who knows how many pains I'm going to have 5 years from now. And I just kind of be lighthearted about it. I think positive. I think, hey, this is part of life. Just move on. Don't give it any thought. Don't read into it. Don't let fear enter the picture. Try to keep fear out, because that just propels those thoughts to go deeper and deeper. And I don't want that in my life. I'm just going to think positive. Oh, everything's fine. I'm just getting old. If I end up dropping dead that night, then it was my time to go. That's how I feel. Well, I hope you enjoyed this final part to this healthcare discussion. Again, I would love your comments, your feedback, anything that you would like to offer, because we all learn from each other. Well, I know this video was long. I'm sorry, and I hope you could stick with it and hear me out. But it was important to do. And I know it was important to many of you, and I promised to do it. So I thank you. And if there's any other topics or things that you want me to talk about or give my viewpoint, I'll be happy to do it. Just put the request in a comment, and I will do the best I can to honor your request. And now I'm going to leave you with an inside beauty tip. My inside beauty tip today is a powerful prayer for healing. Be near me in my time of weakness and pain. Sustain me by your grace, that my strength and courage may not fail. Heal me according to your will, and help me always to believe that what happens to me is of little account if you hold me in eternal life. Amen. We're not all going to remain healthy until we draw our last breath. Some people do. They go through life and don't have any medical issues. Others, unfortunately, go through a lot and deal with a lot. We have to accept the hand that we are dealt, and we have to trust. We have to trust God and believe in His will for our lives. We don't know everything. Actually, we don't know anything. But we do know that we will be completely healed in our eternal life. No more suffering, no more pain, no more sickness. And while we're here on earth, if we are dealing with sickness and health issues, we're not alone. No matter what we go through or how we feel, God is with us every step of the way. He never leaves us. He gives us the strength and the courage to get through whatever comes our way. That is very comforting to me. And it brings a lot of peace when you accept that fact and know that the day will come when you will be forever healed. I hope you always remember that and keep that in mind when you're struggling with some kind of health issue. I thank you so much for being here today. I truly do appreciate it. And until we meet again, this is the old girl signing out. See ya.